Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Postgame Show. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we got our boy, Neil.
Hi.
This isn't a DiNardo Neil special where, it seems like Mitch Keller's on the mound, the Pirates win. This was quite the opposite.
Yeah, this is like an April DiNardo and Neil show.
Yeah, very much so. This is when we were going to ban Neil from ever doing postgame shows.
If this was going to be like, maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't have to talk about this, but yeah, nothing great tonight. Pretty miserable game.
Yeah, I'll say this. I won't say nothing great tonight. Jack Sawinski showed up tonight.
Yeah, Jack Sawinski.
That's
good.
it. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's not the most fun post game to talk of. We have to do it. It is now officially Tuesday, so it's a brand new day. There's some positive.
Another day on the earth.
There you go.
We don't have to. We could just end the stream now.
Right. But honestly, where do you even want to begin with this?
I guess we can start with the one positive tonight.
Sure.
Yeah, Jack Sawinski homers twice tonight. Both over 400 feet, both not in garbage time. It's pretty exciting. The last time I was on, I called him garbage time Barry Bonds, and he might be beating the allegations.
There you go. He is, again, everything that we've said to this point isn't wrong.
Nope.
He's extremely weird. I keep saying it. His splits always vary. Like last year, it was a very, very weird season. This year so far, it's been a very, very weird season for other reasons. And at this point, like you said, Jim put it out there tonight. He has a 147 weighted runs created plus, but a negative 0.1 WPA. And as he says, that's never happened. There's only 25 other players that had a 147 WRC plus since 2021, and none of them had a negative WPA.
Yeah,
for Jack Sawinski.
It's so weird. And I think I mentioned this last time, the eye test really doesn't tell you he's a 150 WRC plus player, that he's close to a 900 OPS. When you watch Jack Sawinski, you don't get that. But clearly there's talent there. And I guess it's about honing in that talent. And I'm not going to, I don't want to take anything from tonight, because tonight was just a weird, terrible night. But those are the kinds of performances you want to see Jack Sawinski do, where he's not homering when it's 7-2 off of the Mets' 10th bullpen arm in a blowout game. You want him hitting home runs, and now if he's hitting the clutch, now he needs to hit them off of good pitching. Because as much as I love him, Jameson Taillon isn't good, and the fact we only scored 3 runs off of him isn't great.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had opportunities again. That's, now granted, 11-3 was the score. If they capitalized on opportunities, they probably still might have been losing this ball game today. But again, it just comes down to it. There's definitely opportunities today, and they squandered them. Just very unfortunate. The offense outside of Jack Sawinski just really didn't show up. 7 hits on the day, 2 of them being Jack Sawinski. Of course, both those being home runs.
Yeah.
8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 2 of those being Jack Sawinski once again. It just, they weren't stringing things together. The offense really wasn't there. And like you said, this was a matchup where you fortunately or unfortunately would look at it. Like you said too, I love Jameson Taillon. I want the best for him, except for today. And he was able to, and he wasn't effective. He wasn't effective today either.
Yeah.
Again, comes down to it. This lineup just didn't do what they needed to do in total. But it's just a bad game all around.
Yeah, I mean,
And
well,
again, like going back to Jack Sawinski, it's just like he is very polarizing. There's people that love him. There's people that hate him. And I don't think I mean, of course, we might poke the bear a little bit, but like you said, he clearly has talent and there's skill there. It's just, again, like the weirdness, and you want to see more consistency out of him. And tonight, the 2 homers, like this is what he does. Is he going to go off on this tear again and have like this great 7, 8, 9, 10 game stretch and then disappear for a month? We don't know. But like that's what he does. And that's, like you said, the eye test about the OPS and like the 150 weighted runs created plus and all that. Like you're right. When you at the end of the season, even like right now, today, you're looking at that and like how's he here?
Yeah.
More times than not, you're talking negatively about Jack Sawinski.
Yeah, you are. And like, it's kind of a case of like, it is weird. He is a case of like box watching or actually watching the games. And because if you just look at his box, like his Fangraphs page, like, wow, this guy's one of the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
But he's not. And that's not a slight against him, I don't think. He's just he needs more stuff like he did tonight to really solidify himself as a top player. But I'll tell you what, I mean, I'd rather have him in the lineup than a bunch of these guys at the moment.
Right.
And so I don't know.
I just want to put something out there because, again, like you said, like just the eye test, just whatever. I mean, this is like where we're at, and Jim will like this. But Jack Sawinski has a 147 weighted runs created plus, right?
Yeah.
Juan Soto has a 142.
Yeah.
They are not anywhere near like the same player. Like they're nowhere in the same stratosphere. No. You would not say, I will take Jack Sawinski over Juan Soto. But that's where we're at. Like you said, when you look at the numbers and the totality, and like you're just like, Jack Sawinski's really, really good. But then like game over game, you don't come away feeling that way. So again, this isn't going to turn like, I don't want to turn this into a Jack Sawinski podcast, but that is like what he is. Like you have these nights and he just looks amazing. And he hits that 425-foot bomb tonight that cleared the scoreboard. And like you see the talent that he just oozes. And then he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in back-to-back games,
Well, I guess at the very least, I'll take this as opposed to him where like he'd have like the hottest week you ever see in your life and then follow it up with like the rest of the month being awful. So
yeah,
that's better. But yeah, and it's kind of, and I got in trouble with Foolish Baseball like 2 months ago over this, where I said like all he did was box watch the games, and he's one of those people with the biggest Jack Sawinski agenda on the planet. I was like, yeah, but like I don't know. And I don't want to make us like, I don't want to like dump on Jack because he's been one of our better hitters this year. It's just, I don't know how to quantify him.
That's what, again, yeah. I say I don't want to, but like, I feel like the enigma of Jack Sawinski almost deserves an entire podcast dedicated to him.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like, that's where like, I feel like he changes the way you value WAR.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know how much WAR he's at the moment, but I'm assuming it's around 2. And like, do you think it's hard for me to say that he's worth 2 WAR? I mean, 130, 1.6 before tonight. It's probably up to like 1.8. But yeah,
which again, you're basically at like he's almost a 2 WAR player.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Mind you, Juan Soto is a 2 WAR player.
Yeah.
So you're talking Jack Sawinski, Juan Soto, same person. Prime Juan Soto.
Well, I mean, they did Greg Brown, Michael McHenry tweeting out like the Mike Trout comparisons, and I'm just like, what is this?
Right. Anyways,
I do want to know, because I'm always called negative. I'm happy for Jack. I hope he continues it.
He got that home cooking tonight too. He had the off day. Probably home, with the parents. Got some home cooking. Got the 2 home runs.
He can be Ari and Hap.
Yeah, hopefully. But anyways, yeah, I mean, this is the first game in Chicago. They lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatevs, but they can't keep playing like this. Now, everything looked bad. It was on both sides as well. Now, granted, we understand the field conditions were obviously pretty bad as well. I can maybe put some blame on that. But like also on top of this game being very bad, it was also just very weird. I know on both
Mhm.
sides too. Like even the Cubs, like they got the third out by being hit by the baseball.
Yeah.
Like it was just weird all around. The umpires were terrible all around. It just wasn't a well played game. It wasn't a good game to watch. I'm glad it's over.
Ugh. I wanted to turn the game off so badly. Like even like when we were in the game, it didn't seem like a game we were ever going to win. And we just kept handing the lead back to the Cubs. Like when we took the lead twice, we just handed it straight back to them. And it is one of those games you can't take too much away from it. The Cubs got I felt like 8 infield hits tonight,
Yeah.
like 8 balls that didn't leave the infield. And it's just like, what do you do with that? Like it clearly just wasn't our night, and it was just a headache to watch.
And mind you, not one was an error.
Yeah.
Like that's where
Nope.
we're at too. Like, there were no errors. It was just
No.
very, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess kind of like into the Luis Ortiz start, where like he pretty much had like one horrendous pitch, and then like the rest of it was infield hits and like walks.
Mhm.
When you talk about the first inning, he walks the leadoff guy, and that's not good. I think he gets an out, and then he gets what should be a double play ball, but it just bounces like 4 times, and Horner is safe at first. And then you give up the 3-run home run to Ian Happ, which was really bad.
Yeah.
But like, Ortiz wasn't great tonight, but at the same time, I can't help but feel he was horribly unlucky as a pitcher.
The way I kind of take his start, well, it was very Oviedo like. Like the first inning was just bad. And then
Yeah.
he kind of got into a groove. Like it definitely got better. And like if you want to take positive, especially from a young pitcher, that's a positive. He could have imploded, just things weren't going well and it unraveled.
Mhm.
And he got it together. And I mean, the team was in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, that home run was it's a 3-run shot, but then he pretty much kept the club into the game. If the offense would have really, really showed up and done so outside of Jack Sawinski. But yeah, like that's a positive. Again, it wasn't a great performance by him, but it wasn't a bad performance either. That's what I look at. Like the first
Yeah.
inning, he struggled, he put it together, things got better. But you're right, he was somewhat unlucky, but he did get hit pretty hard. I think it was 10 hard hits in total,
Mhm.
but mostly, like you're saying, into the dirt. So if you're going to get hit hard, that's where you want
Yeah.
them to go. Also,
Yeah, and Marcano and Bay just had really rough goes today. And I know it's raining outside, and like the conditions were not great, but I mean, the Cubs were not making those mistakes today. They made
even
some, but like
even
again, the Ian Happ
Brian had
mishap.
a few.
Like you had like the Ian Happ mishap on the Palacios double.
Mhm.
You had the weird thing where it hit Mastroboni, was it? I forget
I
who it hit.
don't
Um,
recall. Yeah,
it hit some Cubs player to get the third out. Like so, like it wasn't just us, but like you have to be defensively sound, and we kind of played it like a little league game out there tonight.
right. No, you're right. And again, like a lot of it, not to blame, but field conditions weren't great, and it just kind of is what it is. And that's why
Mhm.
both sides you saw it, right? But I was gonna say is like, yeah, like even Brian Hayes had his moments defensively. Now,
Yeah.
of course, he had good ones,
Mhm.
and I just go. I mean, the dude just so smooth.
Yeah.
So he had really good defensive plays, but even he bobbled the baseball. Like there was a clearly an out that he should have and normally would have made that ended up being
Mhm.
a hit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like when Brian Hayes is doing it, then you're like, okay, maybe I'll give some guys, I'll back off and give them some excuses because if he can't play good defense tonight, maybe something's up.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And it really was just like I think it was a collective brain fart of a day from everyone.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I don't want to blame it on field conditions because again the Cubs were same conditions, they just played better. Like we had 7 hard hit balls all game. We had 5 off of the worst starter in the
that's
National League.
part of it too. The
Like it
Cubs didn't
was,
have to defend much.
yeah. Like we kind of just rolled over and died today, except
Right.
for Jack Suwinski, and it was kind of hard to watch. And someone really has to explain to me why. Well, multiple things, but why Andrew McCutchen is getting an off day after a day off, why we're batting Carlos Santana fourth, why we're persisting batting Marcano leadoff when he's been cold for 2 weeks, and why Austin Hedges gets to play every day. Like there are so many
Well, all that's a chain reaction to
yeah,
Andrew McCutchen not playing after an off day. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't understand that. We've talked about this a little bit beforehand as well. Like
Mhm.
it would be different if 36-year-old Kutch is playing the outfield. You give him the days off to save his legs.
Yeah.
But 36-year-old Andrew McCutchen is DHing. He has to stand at a plate 4 times, maybe 5 a game.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to a dugout.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, again, especially after an off day, why he needs another one. You know, like I don't get why he has to sit so much, yet Carlos Santana is 37 years old and playing the field, plays as often as he does. Now, granted for him, like it Troy going down really hurt that. Like he has to play more than he's expected to. But like Connor Joe exists. You brought up CSN. I don't understand why Kutch has to have so many days off.
No, I don't get why Kutch has so many days off, and like Santana just needs to take a seat for a few days. Like I don't care how you do that. Like play Joe. I know you don't like playing Joe. Like you can even put Bay in center, move Jack to left, put Castro at second, and then let Santana have a few days off because like he is so bad right now. He is a significant drain on the offense, especially if you're batting for fourth and you're playing first base.
And to me, like he screams a guy who like I need some days off.
Yeah, and he keeps popping it up, and can't believe I'm saying this, but like supposed to be the veteran leader, he is not there mentally in the box. The at bat feels over before it's begun. And I don't know, it's just this. There's not enough offensive firepower here. I feel like there's just been too many games, even when we're winning, where we're saying this offense isn't doing enough. And eventually the pitching depth is going to come to bite us, and the offense isn't going to be there to pick us up.
I mean, the pitching depth already is. Osvaldo Bido is starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this is like, that's not, even though we kind of did, this isn't like I'm trashing Bido in the sense, but that's where we're at. A guy who's literally not on the 40-man, who's a 27-year-old AAA pitcher, is starting tomorrow because the pitching depth is eliminated. It's done. So like they've already reached that part.
I mean, when like 3 pitchers are hurt, you have to move Contreras out of the rotation, and I don't know if you have to, but I see why they're doing it. Yeah, there no some pitching reinforcements really need to be on the way, and I'm not even upset that they're keeping Priester down. I'm honestly not. I know a lot of people are. I am not convinced he's ready. I think that fastball gets killed. So I'm honestly okay with that. But if you're not bringing up Priester, there has to be another option besides Osvaldo Bido. If we're serious about winning, which considering we're not playing our best offensive players every day, I don't think we are. And that's just a shame.
Yeah. I'm with you. But anyways, the 26 that are on the field right now. They have to start showing up though too. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like this offense, it's not long enough. Now Marcano was playing well again. Like we talked about the chain reaction. Kutch sitting kind of does everything right because he's been leading off and doing a very, very fantastic job at doing so. With him out, that kind of puts Marcano there, who was playing well. But like you said, and it's true, like he has been struggling mightily of recent. I was for Marcano leading off at a point of time. Not anymore. So like he's struggling. Who else are you really going to put a lead off right now? The options are limited because no one else is really stepping up.
It's the weird thing because it seems like that this lineup in some ways are changed every single day in terms of
Well,
where people
yes,
bat and where people play. And then
except
there are some,
except for Santana.
except for Santana and Marcano, it seems like it's very weird. And I don't know what analytics are being run. I don't know what they're being told that they tell Shelton's going to put out the best lineup, but it's not working. um, Connor Joe hasn't been hitting well enough to hit in the 5 spot. Santana hasn't been hitting well enough to hit in the 4 spot. And I know your other options like Castro, Bay, and Hayes and Palacios, but at some point, you got to try something new. And again, there's another easy solution you could go to down in Indianapolis, but we
The guy
won't.
that hit a home run tonight.
Yeah, just maybe, maybe the guy who's like on a 12-game hitting streak. I don't know. But
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, there's not. You have to. We need Troy back. I don't know when he's supposed to come back, and we need to bench some people, even if for 1 or 2 games.
Troy's needed desperately right now. I mean,
Yeah.
for one, we haven't really seen him this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to say excitement, but the positivity of signing him was he has a decent bat, right? I
Yeah.
mean, much like Santana, like it's productive. So he should come and provide some actual positive value to this lineup. But even more positive value is it's going to give Santana some days off. So you can
Mm-hmm.
hopefully get the best of Carlos Santana as well. And then when they combine, you get one really solid first baseman. So
Yeah.
like him coming back is going to be very, very huge for this lineup, I feel like. But I'm with you. Like what I really want to start pumping and like not for the narrative, but like pumping in the sense like the Brewers lost again tonight.
Yeah.
The Pirates are still in first place. Like it is now June 14th because it's 12:22 a.m. The Pirates are in first place. Again, like I can't say it, and I will say it though more times, but I can't say it enough right now where I understand you didn't believe you would ever be in this position,
Mm-hmm.
but you are now. So like you have to readjust. Things need to change. You have to have a different mentality now because you're here because you were given this opportunity. And
Yeah.
and I understand the division's terrible and it's not as if like you're a great team, but you're in first place. You have some internal options. Like you don't have to trade away the farm to do better. Like you can just use your internal pieces to
Yeah.
potentially get better because the Reds are right there too.
Yeah.
And
But
the
I was going to
team that
mention
just
that.
beat you today is still kind of right there. So do you want to do something or not?
Yeah, because the Reds are 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 straight games. They have called up the guys. Now, luckily for us, the Reds have no pitching. Like their pitching is genuinely atrocious. But ours is going to get to that point
Right.
if things don't change very soon. And then we're also not calling up the offensive reinforcements. And so, and it's not McHenry's fault, but like hearing, I think what he had to say, I forget where, but basically he said that they don't want to mess with a good thing with Austin Hedges. So they might keep Endy and Davis down until July is genuinely upsetting. And it is criminal for where the Pirates are right now. Because the fact that we have no ambition and no desire to even risk it, because the Super 2 is probably passed. Like I feel like it has to have passed by this point.
We're done.
You should not be keeping your best offensive players down for Jason DeLay and Josh Palacios. Like, I'm sorry, like it's a ridiculous thing that we're even having this conversation.
Or
Like,
Mark Mathias.
or Mark Mathias, yeah. But like, yeah, I guess he can fill in the second base, but like, I don't understand the thought process.
Endy also could
Yeah,
give Santana the days off until Troy gets
exactly.
back.
Yeah, and even if you want Austin Hedges to catch Mitch Keller and Rich Hill, and you're committed to that, fine. I can live with that. If
Right.
you're playing
There's
Davis in right
other
field
positions.
on those days, like
Correct.
it's. I do not understand how these people get paid millions of dollars to actively lose.
I'm
I
with
don't.
you. I'm with you. You know, again, like this is to me, this is a very pivotal time. And the reason
Mhm.
it's very pivotal is because of the Reds.
Yeah,
They're the team I'm most afraid of in this division. Again,
same.
like the Brewers, Cardinals, I think we know what they are. Even the Cubs, like I think we know what they are, and everyone at best is, like I said, meh. They're whatever, right? The
Hmm.
Brewers could eventually win the division. I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't be shocked if the Reds put it together and went on a run. And you talk about their pitching isn't great, right? True. Lodolo's coming back. If they pull off a run and they're within one game of the Pirates, or they're now tied with the Pirates, or it's the Pirates, Brewers, and Reds, are they going to invest and say, you know what? We'll trade for Bieber then. We'll
Yeah.
trade for whomever. You know, again, that's what I'm coming at. So yeah, the pitching's not great. Are they going to be willing to do what they need to do to ensure they're there? And
No.
are the Pirates going to also be willing to do the same thing or not? You know, so again, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
That's why I think right now is so pivotal, because it's tight and you have a chance. You're in first place. You have a chance to say, we are going to do something. And right now, they're standing pat. They're saying right now, I'm comfortable with this. I'm
Yeah.
okay just being here.
Hmm.
And that's worrisome because the Reds aren't saying that. That's why they've called up McLean well before Super 2. That's why they've called up De La Cruz right around that time. You know, I think it might have been a little bit early, but they're
Hmm.
calculating, I'm sure, that it was Super 2. You know, they call up their pitcher. They're calling up guys.
Yeah.
They're
And
here. They're
it,
arriving.
they are showing that they will go out and acquire the pieces they need if the
Yeah.
division is there. And I know I've heard rumblings that we're going to be acquiring a pitcher, but it's probably going to be like, I don't know, like Jordan Lyles. No, not even Jordan Lyles. I legitimately have no idea who he'd be in for, but it wouldn't be someone like Bieber. And even as someone who's not as high on Bieber, like I'm afraid whoever trades for him is going to see him fall off a cliff because of all like the velocity issues and
Right.
the K rates are down. But there has to be some urgency here because the trade deadline's way too far away.
Correct.
Like
So again,
we are still a month and a half away from that. So use the internal options.
right.
Like
Exactly. That again, I can't took all the words out of my mouth. I would even say, you know,
yeah,
I'm worried that by the time that point comes, they didn't do enough to capitalize for that to even truly matter.
yeah, is it? Yeah, because it only takes like we're only 3 games over 500.
Right.
Like we if we hit a bad bump in the road and the Brewers and the Reds hit a good bump in the road, the rest of the we might have lost this division in June. In the fact that we were even
Everything could
here,
flip flop in a week or
yeah,
two.
in the fact that we were even here and we chose not to do it because of 2028 and like a possible $5 million on payroll, it's unacceptable, and I legitimately do not know how people are okay with that.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind.
So one thing I learned tonight in talking to you right now is this game was really bad because we clearly don't even want to talk about it because
Yeah,
we just almost ignored as the post game shows about the game.
yeah,
Um, yeah, we kind of went on a little tangent here, but I think it's kind of important to talk about it right now because again, like it matters right now what we're talking of. But I guess maybe to get back to the game,
hmm
um, I mean, we talked about Ortiz. We don't really need to talk too much about the rest of the bullpen because it was terrible. I guess just to put it out there. I mean, Moretta did come in. Of course, it wasn't a charge to him. It was charged to Ortiz, but he did give up the run. 2 hits in the .2 innings. Um, Ramirez, I'll say this because you and I have absolutely talked about him on this
hmm
show and how he has been impressive. You see the talent there. I'm not sure if he's good, but he's certainly talented. Tonight,
didn't
well,
have it.
you saw what holds him back. So in
Yep.
his .1 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 4 earned, no strikeouts.
Yeah,
It was bad.
very bad.
Hit a
And
batter.
I don't know. I still think he's good. Um, relievers have bad nights like that.
Yeah.
And I think if there was anyone who was really struggling to grip the ball today, it was Ramirez because of the rain. Like you could tell, like when he hit Hap, I think it was Hap, he did not have the control. And sometimes it's going to happen when you have him like that, but I'm not terribly concerned about him.
It was Hap. Yep.
Yeah. And then once you put in Z, you knew was the white flag. So
right. Yes, it certainly was.
I mean, and I guess the one thing I'd say is that Moreta, love him. He's proven me wrong all year. I think some of the left on base numbers are coming home to roost, though. I think we're finally getting to the point where it's not sustainable to keep straining that many runners. And I think it comes from tonight.
Yeah, I guess what I want to say that is you're right. Like there's going to be some regression to the mean, but he wasn't going to have like a 0 ERA either. You know, like I still am very intrigued by him, and I don't want to say high on him, but he's starting to prove me wrong. Like you said, like in April, it was like I don't know how he's doing it, but he's not a good pitcher. But you know, like let this run keep happening. And then May came and it's like, okay, maybe he is. So right, like I mean, like you're talking about Ramirez. I mean, guys are eventually going to give up runs. You know, like he can't just sustain that either. But I still like everything I see out of Moreta right now.
No, I do too. And like he has been on it for most of the year. So
like even like if you're talking regression probably will happen. Like I don't want people to think like, oh, he stinks now because like he gave up a run here or there. Like that's a reliever. You can't just have a 0 ERA your whole entire career, right? So, but yeah, so Moreta though he did give up the run, not charged to him though. Obviously, that was Ortiz that put him on, and then Zazrisny came in and just still looked awful. His ERA up to a 5.63. That's the guy I feel like you have to purge once you get serious as well.
Yeah. Again, I think I've said it before. I don't get the Stevenson trade if he's going to be on a roster. It makes no sense to me. But yeah, I mean, I legitimately have nothing to say about him because I've already said it before. He stinks, and he shouldn't be on the roster.
Correct. So we can move on. We don't need to talk about him anymore. So with that said, I don't really have much more to talk about with this game specifically.
We touched on Ortiz. We touched on the offense. We got the bullpen. We kind of touched on the defense. Like I think we got everything.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible day.
Well, it's a new day.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday now. So it's going to be a good day. Osvaldo Vito's pitching.
It's Wednesday.
Shortly. Oh, yeah. My bad. It's Wednesday. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking it's even the day. I'm thinking the first game of the series is Monday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. So now it's Wednesday. But yeah, so Osvaldo Vito is going to be taking the mound today. Later, we'll be doing a post game on that as well. Hopefully, it's gonna be a much better game.
I get to be on that post game tomorrow.
Enjoy.
I'm going to want to die, but okay. Yeah, it sounds like hopefully Osvaldo Vito proves me wrong. We score 10 runs off of Drew Smiley.
That would be good.
And we can forget all about today.
I'm looking forward for another Drew Frowny outing. So, all right. Well, then with that said, let's get out of here. It's 33 minutes, and we certainly didn't have any idea that would go 33 minutes on this game. So we're done. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back again later today, unless you're in Central Time or further. So see you then. Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.